Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, I decided to make this video finally about the pre-birth experience, and I'm doing it because I'm sitting in traffic and I'm bored. So I don't even know where to start, honestly. But watching these other videos on the pre-birth experience is one of the main reasons why I'm making this video. I just feel like the story does need to get out. I feel like the whole reason why I've had this experience is to tell people about it. So that's what I'm doing. It's insane to hear other people talk about it, because all of our experiences are pretty much exactly the same, minus a few details, very little ones, very little details. I have a lot of detail though. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm special or anything like that, but when I hear people talk about it, I have a little bit more. And there's a reason for it, and I'll get into that as the video goes on. I'm going to try to make it short, because I know we all have short attention spans nowadays. Gotta let this motorcycle go by. Driving is more important right now. You go, be safe, man. Well, this is how it started for me. Basically, I started off and I was like, I'd want to say like a ball of energy, okay? And I was floating around, and I was experiencing pure bliss. It's the best feeling you could ever imagine. You can't describe it into words. You can't. I was basically receiving knowledge constantly about everything. I understood everything. I was so smart, yet so curious at the same time. One thing I did not hear people mention is that I had a body, and then I didn't at the same time. I was like a baby, a teenager, and an elderly person all at the same time. I was a young baby, I was a teenager, and an elderly person. But I didn't see my hands or anything like that. I felt like I was all those ages at one time. I know that's very weird, but that's what I felt. And I was just kind of floating around, just flying around, just feeling so good. And then I felt something like calling me over behind me, like, turn around, fly over here. I was being beckoned. Somebody was talking to me telepathically. I turned around and I saw three beings, three of them. I saw, it was a womanly figure and two males standing next to her side by side. I couldn't really see their faces, but they were just wearing, I would want to say, white robes, and I couldn't see her face. It was like just light, but I could see her hair. She was a brunette, and they were telling me to come down, and instantly I knew what was happening. I knew that they were going to send me here, and I did not want to come at all. I did not want to be here. I was like, nope. I remember fighting it really bad. Like, no, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. And I was flying around a little more, just like, you know, when you're trying to tell your kid to go clean their room, and they're just like, they're trying to have fun before they go. That's what I was doing. I was like, no, I do not want to go to this place. And as I was doing that, I was kind of looking over to where I was gonna go, Earth, and man, that was the first moment of fear that came over me. I was scared because I knew this place was going to be bad. I didn't want to be here, for sure. Compared to that, I didn't want to be here, and I was fighting it, and it got to the point where I was gonna go. I had no choice, and they were letting me know that you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. You know, just come on down. And before I went down, I turned around and I saw them, and I looked, and it was a pool. It was a pool of water, and covering it was like a big awning, like old, I'd want to say like column. They were like columns, white columns. You know, like old like Greek columns. You know, they were real defined and they were just beautiful. And it was just covering this pool. And they were standing by the water. And I did not want to go into that water because I knew what that meant. So they beckoned me over, and at this point, I was fighting it. I had no choice. I was being pulled into the water. And I got into the water, and I was petrified. I knew what was going to happen. They were going to send me down. I didn't want to go, and I kept asking them, please, if I'm going to go, can you please let me remember this place? I want to remember. I want to remember. And they kept reassuring me, and they allowed me to remember. They allowed me to remember this place. And as I got that confirmation that they were going to allow me to remember, I was okay with going. And, you know, as I was in that water, I know for a fact they gave me a choice as to what life I want to live. I could have been rich, famous, and had it really easy, but my memory of heaven would have been gone, basically. I had to live a more difficult life here to remember that place. That was the deal, and I wanted that deal because I wanted to remember. It was that important to me. The short amount of time that I'd be here, you know, that it's totally worth it to remember a place like this, because I have this understanding now, and you know, it's priceless, because I know for a fact that when we pass on, there is an afterlife and there is a heaven, because I've been there, and I remember without a doubt in my mind, without a doubt. And man, those people that were standing by the water, the woman and the two beings that were speaking to me, the love that you feel for these people is, again, something that you cannot put into words. You think you love your parents, you think you love your children if you have them, and it's nothing compared to the love that you feel when you're up there. At all. You cannot compare it. It's to the point where I actually miss them. I miss them very, very much. I think about them all the time. I think about this situation all the time. It's something that never leaves me. And I cannot wait to go back. I don't even, you know, I don't know what my purpose here is on planet Earth, but I can't wait to go back. That's the only thing I can say about that. So again, I got into the pool and I was scared. I was terrified because I remember looking at the place that I was gonna go to, Earth, and it is ugly. It was just, I remember it looking like a black bubbling mass of just pure evil, and I was petrified. I just knew this was gonna be tough. I knew this place was gonna be dark, and I knew this place needed work. And I didn't want to go. I didn't want to go. Yet here I am. But I got in the water. I chose my life. I chose my mom. I do know that. I chose the family I wanted. I chose the body. I chose how I wanted to look. I chose a lot of things. There's a lot of things that you get to choose before you come here. I don't know if we all chose these things. I really don't. But I remember choosing myself. Got in the water, and I remember being sucked down. At this point, I was gone. I remember being sucked down into this like tube, and the fear came over me right then and there when I started getting sucked down into this tube. And as the further I went down, the memories started to fade away of that place, of heaven. It started to go away slowly, and I remember just like being really tired. I could hardly keep my eyes open, and I was just like, oh, here I go, kind of like a roller coaster. Just getting sucked down really, really fast. And one of the last things I remember from this whole entire memory is the best way to describe it. I remember a vision. You know when you close your eyes and you look at a light or maybe even the sun, and you could see the flesh color? I remember seeing that, and I'll say now, I know I was inside the womb, and I felt claustrophobic. I was inside of a body now, and it was extremely uncomfortable. I felt like I was suffocating. I had to get out. I was like, remember, just pushing against the wall, whatever, the womb. I was pushing and pushing, and that is the last thing I remember from that. And that is my first memory. That was my first memory. I remember being a tiny little child. When you start to become conscious, that is something that always stuck with me as I grew up. And as I got older, of course, I kind of started to forget about this, what happened to me. Until, I started surfing the internet at a young age, and I was so curious to figure. I'm 34 years old now, and I looked this up probably when I was like maybe 15, 16, and I wanted to look around. This is back in the dial-up days, and I remember looking around, reading forums and things like that. And there was an old forum that was, up back in those days, with, the same people that experienced this. And when they told their stories, and I read the stories and I watched the stories on YouTube today, and it is almost identical to what I experienced. And that's when I realized that really happened to me. So, that's my story, guys. Let me know what you think. And, before I end the video, I just want to say that we all can tell the difference between a dream and a memory, right? You have a dream. Sometimes your dream seems so real, and you're like, you don't know until you wake up. But when you wake up, you realize that it was a dream. This was not a dream. I remember it like a memory. It's more vivid than any memory I've ever had. I can't remember where I left my car keys. I can't remember where I left my cell phone. But I remember this. So that's my story. And just let me know what you guys think. I know I'm leaving out a lot of things for sure, and something I know I'm going to regret not saying something when I end this video. I should think of something here. Okay, I got one last thing to say. God is real. Heaven is real. Love each other. Do good. Treat people how you want to be treated. Love each other. And that's it. Thanks, guys.